Welcome to Superpower Sundays. This is an expression of my work. I am Danielle Fanfair. I guide my clients, professional women, professional groups, and business leaders from confusion to clarity, helping them reveal the truth of who they really are. And then we create a strategy for bringing the fullness of that true self to everything, your work, your personal relationships, your passions. And what I found, corroborated by organizational psychology, but also in my own experience, is when people know who they really are, that self-awareness turns into self-acceptance, and then we start to see true self-transformation. So my goal and my intention is to bring about a true transformation when it comes to knowing our power, knowing our value, knowing who we are, and then allocating and leveraging the knowledge of our true selves so that we can have exactly what we need to be a contribution in every situation, every circumstance, and at every opportunity. No longer will we allow other people, other experiences, or other groups inform us about who we are. We will know and then move confidently and calmly in our gifting and in our strengths and begin to even outsource other people's gifting and strengths. So I'm grateful for you guys joining me tonight. Tonight, I want to talk because one of the things I decided to do every Sunday night is to create space to prepare ourselves, to set ourselves up for success for the next week, for the whatever we have to do starting on Monday through the next week. How often do we really set aside time to set ourselves up for success? And I don't mean in the typical ways like creating your lunch or developing an idea of what you're gonna wear. Even deeper than that, how can we mentally, emotionally, and physically move ourselves into a state of preparedness for the obstacles, for the opportunities, for the experiences that are waiting for us tomorrow morning, okay? Most of us have some kind of work to do. Even if you are a stay-at-home mom, you have a career that begins tomorrow morning as soon as everybody wakes up in that house. So I'm excited for us to go on a journey of preparedness tonight. I am so thrilled to announce that Superpower Sundays has a sponsor, a lovely local company called Jinka. Go to ilovejinka.com or go to @ilovejinka. Jinka is a turmeric paste that, let me tell y'all, first of all, I received some liquid gold, which is this paste mixed with almond milk and warmed up at Myra Shaw's Unretreat. And it felt like, I was like, is this what breast milk tastes like? I don't know. But I remember experiencing this elixir of wellness that just went through, it went down my throat and into my body, and I immediately felt so loved and so energized and so good. What it is it is a turmeric paste. It is primarily turmeric with a little alkaline water, some coconut oil, and then it's blended with spices like true cinnamon, ginger. It's blended with pepper, Himalayan sea salt. I mean, all of the good stuff. It also uses a little bit of date sugar. And what you do is you take a spoonful of this and you put it in food, or I put in my almond milk. Can you guys see that on Instagram? And what it makes is something called liquid gold. And if you drink this every night, you will wake up and feel like a superhero. Now I have, for those of you all who know me from college, some of y'all who are on here, y'all know me from back in the day, I have loud elephant sounding allergies. When I drink this, I wake up clear. When I drink Jinka, I wake up clear. My mother-in-law drinks this, and she wakes up feeling more energized. She wakes up feeling more flexible. She wakes up feeling so good. So in my house, we drink this every night and we wake up feeling good. I did a little experiment too where I drank it a couple of nights and then I skipped some nights, and those nights that I skipped, I woke up stuffed up and blowing my nose and sounding like the trumpet player. I'm so grateful to I Love Jinka for being a sponsor of Superpower Sundays and for creating an elixir of wellness that helps us really call forward and sets us up for success with our superpowers. So guys, go to ilovejinka.com, go to @ilovejinka, and get you a jar of this stuff, man. Y'all know the power of herbs. They say not to eat certain foods and certain herbs while you're on certain medications, because these things are just as potent and have the same pharmaceutical nature and power as the pills that they prescribe us, and they know it. So here, get you some liquid gold so you don't have to go to that pharmacy. Go to the farm instead. Thank you so much. I love Jinka. I really do love Jinka, guys. That is so good. I wish I could have a sip. This liquid gold is really liquid gold. Man, listen, write it down. Open up another tab if you're looking on your computer. Toggle over to your notes real quick and just write down ilovejinka.com. That is JINKA. So grateful. So wonderful to be in alignment. It's wonderful. And these people are local. You don't have to go try and hunt nobody down over in California or in New Mexico or somewhere. These folks are right on Crawford. All right, so what I want to talk about tonight is how do our childhood memories create a worldview for us that is limiting and creates a mindset that does not set us up for success. Okay? So here's what happens. There is a difference between head knowledge and worldview. How many of you guys know that? There is a difference between things that we know to be fact and the way we perceive the world. For instance, I believe that all people can go anywhere at any time. For a long time, I was of the belief that I did not belong in certain places. Do you know how long it took me to walk into Whole Foods? It's because I was of the belief that Whole Foods was a white place. It was an expensive place. It was one of those specialty fruit stores that people like me didn't go in. And that is rooted in a childhood memory I have of being in certain places that were perceived to be high-end or luxury and being discriminated against, being disregarded, experiencing slights and insults that let me know that this was not my place. And so I remember my family, for lack of wanting to go through that for lack of time, we would just go straight to the places that we knew and go straight home, because this is the 80s. The 80s were still progressive. 80s, 90s, we were still moving through, in Houston, pockets of inequality and very obvious racism. And so I developed a belief system, a worldview that certain places were not for me. Now, again, I have the head knowledge that all men are created equal and that, we free and segregation is over. However, my worldview kept me from going into certain places. Now, of course, these days, I'm in Whole Foods so much, I need a green apron. I've contemplated getting a part-time job there often because I'm up in there too much and I know too much about what's on them shelves. I can pick up the phone and call Whole Body myself. I don't even need no help. I got it. I can go get my Himalayan sea salt and I can go get my Tom's of Maine deodorant and be on out of there before you can even go figure out where it is, So, of course, my worldview has shifted. However, my head knowledge and my worldview had a dissonance for a long time. What happened to shift my worldview? Well, what happened to shift my worldview is that I actually examined my worldview. And I actually looked back on those experiences and decided to believe something new about the way that the world works. I decided to pivot my perspective and shift my perspective. That is what I want us to begin to think about today. Is how is our perspective, our worldview, our understanding of the way the world works, limiting our capacity to be happy and joyful, to experience success, to reach our goals and exceed them? How are our childhood memories solidifying a worldview that may be limiting our superpower? That's what I want to talk about tonight. And so I want to read a little bit from the workbook that I created. It's called Go From Confusion to Clarity. And this is the inner workbook that I wish I had before I started this work. And so what I did was I was reading a lot of books on purpose and Enneagram and time management and organizing your life. I read Living Forward, and I read, Thanks for the Feedback. And I read all of these amazing books about leadership and knowing yourself and being able to grow quickly, Business Model Generation. I read all these books, and my margins are so marked up that I decided to create the worksheets that I wish I had when I was reading those books, okay? And I did so with this workbook. It's called Go From Confusion to Clarity. See my name right there? So excited to have finally created the first of a series of workbooks. But I want to read from it. And this is on page 44. And this is just a little short passage around reflecting on the past and choosing a wiser narrative, okay? We have a gift through the function of memory. Using memories, we can savor the good that has happened, learn lessons from the right we've seen, and avoid repeated pain and danger. Our recollections of the past inform us. They teach us, they warn us, equipping us to make a better choice that ensures our survival. Memories can serve as purposeful guides. We remember tripping over untied shoelaces, so the double knot becomes automatic. We remember the smells and the tastes of holidays, and we look forward to the season every year. We saw our grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles get up and go to work every day, and we have a concept of how adults manage their lives. We often hear the messages of our childhood memories on repeat as we make present decisions. It is possible that as we grow and learn more about who we are as people, the messages of those memories conflict with who we authentically are. It's imperative that we return to those memories, their meanings, and shift any beliefs that are incorrect. Benjamin Zander, composer and co-author of The Art of Possibility, writes, "How often do we stand convinced of the truth of our early memories, forgetting that they are but assessments made by a child? We can replace the narratives that hold us back by inventing wiser stories, free from childish fears, and in doing so, disperse long-held psychological stumbling blocks." Let me read that again. We can replace the narratives that hold us back by inventing wiser stories, free from childish fears, and in doing so, disperse long-held psychological stumbling blocks. So this begins the shift. This begins the perspective change that heals the childhood memories, that then helps us to understand how our worldview may be limited and may need to shift, okay? We have an opportunity to change the meaning of our memories. While the events that occurred cannot be changed or erased, that's not what I'm saying, we can return to them and understand what was happening differently. We can bring the present wisdom, insight, and compassion of our maturity to the mindset of the wounded child who experienced the pain. With a new understanding comes different learnings and different messages about ourselves. So I want to take us through a practice that begins this shift, that begins this psychological healing process, okay? The first thing I want you to do is I want you to think of a memory that really is a space of education for you. Think of a memory that is that warning for you. Think of a memory that is that you better not do this because of what happened last time. Think of a memory that goes before your decision making, and a memory that is that cautionary tale for you. Think of that memory. You don't have to write it, but just think about it, okay? Think of that memory. Do you have it? Again, my memory is, I'll tell you, when I was in 12th grade, and these memories can be from childhood, they can be all the way up until recently. However, I'm talking about young memories. I had several experiences like this, but the one that stands out to me the most is when I was in 12th grade. My mom was very proud of me, and she said, "You know what, you did a great job for high school. You know, I was top 5% of my class. I had a high GPA. I had been very focused. And she said, you have no budget for prom. I don't care if your dress costs $5,000. You can get whatever you want for your prom. I was like, what? So we went to Neiman Marcus in the Galleria, the same one that's standing over there now. Went to Neiman Marcus and went to the dress section. And I was very excited to start to think about the kind of dress I want to wear and how I was going to show up and be this astonishing, you know, prom princess. And the lady would not let us try on any clothes. She kept blocking the dresses with her body, saying, no, these are very expensive. And I was like, kind of like, yeah, but we came to pick a dress out. And she was like, no, you don't understand, these are very expensive. And I'm like, lady, I got a blank check. Like, you know, show me the dresses. And she would not let me touch a dress. Finally, to the point, my mom was like, let's just go. Let's just go. And I'm like, no, Mom, like, tell her what you told me. I did good, so we gonna get whatever dress I want. My mom was like, let's just go. And we ended up going to Macy's. And I got a dress that I liked, and a dress that was beautiful. It was very disappointing, but it was a message to me. Don't you go in those high fancy stores. Don't go in them stores where those people are looking you up and down, deciding for you that because of your skin and because of your age and because of what you are currently wearing that you can't afford to go in there. So for a long time, I avoided those stores, believing with my head knowledge, yeah, everybody can shop there. But my worldview was that those stores are not for me. So think about the memory that teaches you a lesson like that. Think about the event that happens in your life, either early in childhood or later in your teen years, that serves as a warning, a guidepost for what you better not do. Okay? Now, the current meaning of that memory for me was don't go in those high-end stores because they're going to look you up and down and they're going to perceive that you are not valuable enough to be there. Now, the problem with the current meaning is that while I understood that that's what they thought, that perspective leaked into my own psyche and leaked into my own perspective about myself. I began to become the spirit of that discrimination, and I began to avoid nice things. I began to piecemeal and make stuff come together and always look for the cheapest, the quickest way that I could get things because I allowed that perspective to become a part of my perspective, okay? So you see how that happens? So what is that current meaning for you? That current meaning is what? That you shouldn't do blank because of blank, okay? Now I want you to revisit that meaning, revisit that memory from your wiser, more mature state of mind. I can go back to that memory and say, hey, that might not have been Neiman Marcus's policy. That might have been a desperate, tired, commission-based sales associate who had spent her wheels chasing after people all day and not making any sales. And so out of her limited experience with the kind of people that raised me, she was incorrect in assuming that we were not going to make a purchase that day, okay? That's her issue, not my value. That's the present insight that I can bring to that. I have been in retail. I have been tired and made assumptions about people. I have been in a space where my livelihood was on the line and I made a short-sighted decision out of desperation. I've been there. And so I can understand that while she is a racist, yes, she's a racist. However, her racism and her human capacity to make a mistake don't have nothing to do with me, okay? So go back to that memory with your present insight. If your memory is around your parents, you know, a situation with your mother or your father, say you had a parent that was very critical, or you had a parent that was very strict, or someone who you felt constrained you or limited you in some way, you as a working adult now can go back to that situation Understanding what it means to be in charge of a household, understanding what it means to be in charge of a life, maybe, understanding what it means to be in charge of bills, having to juggle all of that, you can understand how easy it is to displace your anxiety and your fear and your anger onto the people around you, particularly those who can't fight you back. We've all done that, right? So what is the present insight that your grown, mature self can bring to that memory? Meaning, go and take a bird's eye view, hover above that memory, and take a 360-degree panoramic look around that room. And from your present perspective, narrate what was happening in that memory. Are you coming to a more compassionate perspective? Are you developing more insight? Again, doing this does not make what happened any less wrong. Doing this does not negate or take away from the impact that memory had on you. However, it's giving you some perspective so that you can begin to untie the grip that this memory has on your worldview. Okay? Because let me tell you what happens if we don't go back to our worldview that was cemented as a child. If we don't go back to that worldview, guess what? If we don't dismantle that worldview, we will notice that our bodies get bigger, our houses, our playgrounds get bigger, our toys get bigger and fancier. But if our worldview never grows, we are moving through life with the worldview of a child. And the issues that we have with the caregivers and the adults of our childhood, because they are usually not around us at this point, we are now placing onto the folks that we are in relationship with. We're displacing them onto our authorities at work. We're displacing them onto our partners, our lovers, our friends. We're displacing them onto strangers that we experience and feel maybe like this is happening again in these random public situations. The more we revisit our worldview and begin to dismantle that which is incorrect, the more freedom we can move in and enjoy the lives that we have created for ourselves. Okay? So now you've gone to the memory and you understood what it meant to you. Now you've revisited that memory with present insight. Okay? Now it's time to give that memory new meaning. Okay? My memory was I was blatantly discriminated against in a fancy store when I was a kid. When I had money in my pocket, Friday night, just got paid, you know. That meaning was that I did not deserve to be given fair treatment in a fancy store. My present insight is that woman was racist. She was ignorant. She was short-sighted. Most likely it was the end of the day because we had gone after school. She was tired. And she probably was trying to figure out the quickest way to make a sale and realized in her mind that we were not her direct route to a big sale. Okay, so she made a short-sighted decision out of desperation. The new meaning that I have of that memory is that I am valuable. I bring value with me everywhere I go, and when I sense that others don't recognize or accept my value, it's time to move on and go where I'm celebrated. It's time to take my power, my money, and my energy somewhere else because that is my power. Okay? So the new meaning is it wasn't me. I didn't do anything to deserve that treatment. However, when I perceive it, when I realize it, it's time to kick rocks. So what's the new meaning for your memory? What's the new meaning that you have now recognized after visiting your memory with the present insight and the maturity of a grown person? You guys writing that down? Now, this whole exercise is actually in the workbook. It's in the Confusion to Clarity workbook. I'm just reading straight out of the workbook. And the example that I give is actually the example of someone who had a harsh parent, okay? And so I want to encourage you guys to get this book if you don't have it already. You can go to my website, www.daniellefanfair.com, and click on store. It'll be there. I study the Enneagram, and the Enneagram is a sacred map of personality types. It's 9 ways that human beings try to cope with early childhood trauma by creating a strategy for being okay, a strategy for coping, a strategy for getting the type of love and affection that we need, okay? And each type has an inherent knowing. Each type has an inherent knowing of their soul that is constantly conflicting with the ways that other human beings are communicating with us, okay? Each type has a specific message that they know is true that we can return to every time when we are triggered, when we start to feel stressed out, when we start to feel rejected, when we start to feel intruded upon, when we start to feel like a boundary is being crossed in some way. Each personality type has an inherent knowing. And what I want us to do is a breath prayer to conclude that brings in these truths and exhales these truths, okay? So come to a comfortable seat wherever you are. And the breath prayer is not anything serious. For those of you all who have some spiritual or religious wounding around church and prayer, it's a simple breathing exercise that brings into consciousness our heart, our heads, and our gut in union with whatever you call the creator. It could be God, Allah, Buddha, spirit, yourself, your best self, whatever your belief is. The breath prayer just brings you more in union with that. Okay, so come to a comfortable seat, and each type has an inherent knowing, but because we represent so many complex experiences that make us human and make us complicated, I want us to each experience one line of the inherent knowing of each personality type, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna breathe in, and then we're gonna breathe out. And we're gonna breathe in and out some words, okay? There's a certain personality type that needs to know that they're good. They fear being bad, they wanna be good, okay? If that resonates with you, I just want you to put your hand on your heart. Either way, breathe in with me, you are, and breathe out good. You are good, okay? Now there's another personality type that wants to be a loving, helpful person. They just want to be one at the end of the day, and their biggest fear is being rejected. Your breath prayer is you are wanted. You are wanted. Now there are others of us who really want to be successful. We really want to give people possibility and hope. We really want to demonstrate what we can do, what is possible, so that everybody around us will have more imagination and more confidence in how they can be successful in their lives. Now, those people can sometimes feel like they are worthless. And if they're not bringing something back to their communities, their families, their houses, and they are not bringing anything worth or valuable back by just being themselves. And I want you to breathe in. You are loved for yourself. You are loved for yourself. Now, there are some creative people among us who are self-aware, very in touch with their emotions, often want to be themselves, but fear that they will be rejected or abandoned for doing so. See the beauty in everybody else, but wants to know what's beautiful about them. I want you to breathe in. You are seen for who you are. You are seen for who you are. Now, there are my friends who are withdrawn and cerebral and detail-oriented. There are my friends who are very comfortable with high-level concepts, and these small facts and figures don't alarm them. However, they feel sometimes like their needs are an inconvenience for other people, and they tend to be very withdrawn and very slow to communicate what they need. And I want you to breathe in. Your needs are not a problem. Say it to yourself. My needs are not a problem. Doesn't that feel good? Now, there are my friends who are constantly wanting to seek security, weighing all the options, want to make sure that everything is secure, that we are all safe, that we are not going down. They want to make sure that they can trust what they see, they can trust what they feel, they want to know that they know. I want you to breathe in, you are, and breathe out, safe. You are safe. You are safe. The unknown will become known to you, and you are safe while it's on its way. The truth is on its way. There are my friends who are enthusiastic and who are fun-loving, seeking satisfaction, seeking new experiences, seeking to not be trapped in their own pain. I want you to breathe in, you will, and breathe out, be taken care of. You will be taken care of. Now, there are some friends of ours that we have in our lives that are strong-willed. They are confrontational. They are not afraid to stand up and say, hey, that's not right. I don't appreciate that. I don't want it. It's not happening. No way, no how. Sometimes they fight to understand what other people's intentions are. I want you to breathe in. You will not be betrayed. Breathe in. You, breathe out, will not be betrayed. And then lastly, there are those of us who are easygoing, non-judgmental, just want everybody to be calm, want to provide a variety of experiences so that everybody will be happy, will sometimes delay our desires so that everybody else will be okay. I want you to breathe in. Your presence matters. Your presence matters. And all of us need to know this as we prepare for whatever we have to do tomorrow, as we prepare for whatever conversation, event, experience, or project is coming our way Monday morning. I want you to breathe in, I am, and breathe out, always supported. When we revisit the memories that have given us information, with present insight and maturity and the wisdom that we possess, and we begin to shift our perspective on what happened, we begin to shift the meaning that that memory conveys to us about our own value. And when we share those breath prayers, those breath practices with ourselves when we're feeling stressed out, when we're feeling like, oh my God, it's happening again, when we're feeling like, I don't know what to do. When we begin with the breath prayer that resonated most with you, that is the beginning of shifting and healing the memory that creates a worldview that is limiting. So how can you shift memories tonight? How can you revisit some of the memories of your past and begin to shift the meaning of those memories, therefore letting go of some of the pain that those memories hold for you, and letting go of the suspicion that those experiences are happening again. There are rare times that they are. I'm not negating that, but 9 times out of 10, it's a new day with new people and new experiences, and you are new. If you want those inherent knowings of the soul, those are also in the workbook as well on page, what is that, 43? Page 43. You have been a wonderful audience for Superpower Sundays. I pray that this practice and this teaching has been beneficial for you. I want you to give me some feedback. Give me your thoughts. Give me your experience. Let me know how this has felt for you. Do you feel better? Do you feel like you have at least a small shift? Did you move the needle at all on a painful memory? I would like to know. Now, there's a couple of things that I want you to remember as we move forward. The first is I am in day 4 of the hashtag 40 Days of Superpower community. I've started a journey where we are moving through 40 days of knowing, naming, and planning to contribute our superpowers. So join that community. You can go to the link in my bio. There is a place for you to sign up there. For those of you guys on Instagram, go to the link in my bio and check that out. For those of you watching on YouTube, look beneath the video. You'll see all those hot links. I also want to know if you guys have the planner that is associated with the 40 Days of Superpower. It's a digital planner, a PDF document for you to be able to access wherever you are. If you're waiting on your name to be called, you're sitting in traffic and your car is not moving, or if you're sitting somewhere and you just need a quick way to reference what are my superpowers. This planner is my intention for you to be able to stop and say, hey, give me a minute. I need to go and access my superpowers so that I can know how I am a contribution. I know I'm a contribution, but I want to know specifically how I am. So let me go and jot down a few things so I can get grounded and centered. And then there's going to be a series of webinars and digital learning environments that I'm going to be sharing over the next couple of days around getting ready for the holidays, around learning more about your Enneagram personality type. And my favorite coming up is I'm going to teach a class on how to master your time. Every personality type has a specific relationship with time. And so I have that perspective along with some practices and some experiments that we can try to really align ourselves with the clock in a different way, okay? And I have really worked hard to try and do that. So I'm excited to share that with you. Go to ilovejinka.com, who is our very first sponsor. I'm very excited about that. But seriously, I'm about to drink my liquid gold and go to bed, and I will not wake up. Some of my friends are on here. Y'all, for those of you all who don't know, this liquid gold keeps me from waking up and sounding like an elephant in the morning. Can you believe that? For those of you all who are on, who have been in my presence in the morning, y'all know it's a symphony. And the I Love Jinka liquid gold drink helps to quiet the symphony in the morning. That ought to be evidence enough for you to at least try this stuff, okay? So go to ilovejinka.com. Go to @ilovejinka on your social medias. Go to www.daniellefanfair.com to check out what's happening in the Confusion to Clarity world. I'm so grateful for you guys and so thankful that you guys have tuned in. I am excited about what you will experience tomorrow because of your shift in your own mindset, and I'm excited to hear from you. So thank you guys so much for being with me. I look forward to being with you again. Oh, last thing. Next Sunday, we're going to talk about the gifts of jealousy. How jealousy is actually a gift wrapped all up in it. And so I have I'm so excited about some of the research that I've done around what jealousy, whether you're on the receiving or the giving end, communicates to you about your superpower. So there's gifts wrapped up in jealousy and information about our superpowers. So let your friends know. What is it? Call your friends, call your wife, call your husband. Oh no, that's hide your husband, hide your wife. Oh no, don't hide them. Call them. Tell them to join me next Sunday. And we're going to talk about how the gifts of jealousy actually fuel our superpowers. So I'm so excited, guys. Thank y'all so much. Now I'm about to drink my liquid gold and go to bed. This is not my hour. I'm up here because I love y'all. But this is not my hour. I'm a morning person. So I'll see you guys on the Instagrams, on the socials, or online tomorrow. Bye.